Hello, everyone. So I managed to get on today without too much hassle, which is really great because last week was a disaster. But I'm here and just waiting for you to arrive. I'm just going to check see if I can see myself. Yes, I am. There I am. Beautiful. So, basically, what I want to talk about today is around that dilemma about what to do when you really don't know what's happening and, things feel very uncertain and there's a lot of conflicting information. And so I thought I would come on and just really have a bit of a chat about it and give you some insights. Now, what I'm going to talk about is, so I think it's Warren Buffett that says, so Warren Buffett has a saying, I think it's him anyhow, something like, be fearful when others are greedy and be greedy when others are fearful. So basically the old zig when others zag. So in terms of thinking about what you should be doing and in relation to what everyone else is doing. And so I wanted to just break that down a bit. The first thing to really think about is are you feeling fearful? I think a lot of people are feeling fearful at the moment and feeling very unsure. And because there's a lot of information around, you can tend to sort of go down some rabbit holes. But before I talk about how to deal with that, or certainly how I'm dealing with it, how do you know if you're fearful? Because often it's really deeply seated, like very deep within, and you can be sort of looking and feeling okay on the surface, but there's stuff going on within you that is, having you feel fearful and stressed. And when I was at a conference recently, and there was this amazing woman. Her name was Rhonda Britton, who she's from the US, and she talked about a process that she has developed. So when someone's doing a talk and they give you their story, and usually there's some really bad thing that's happened, and that was the epiphany. Well, when she gave her bad story, oh my God, it just was, like nothing I've ever heard. So just basically what happened to her was when she was little, or she might have been like a young teenager, her parents were breaking up, but they were going out to have dinner. I think it was on Mother's Day or Father's Day. And she was out at the car waiting with her mum. Her dad was putting things in the car and they were waiting for her two sisters to come along. And basically she thought her father went to get his jacket out of the boot, but he actually got a gun out and shot his mum and actually went to shoot her as well. Now, talk about, you could drop a pin in the room. And so I thought, my God, if anyone's qualified to talk about fear, it's you. And so she was talking about, the different ways that fear manifests and how to tell if you really are fearful, because often it's not that obvious. And so basically what she was saying, and I thought this made a lot of sense, was that when your behavior is not reflecting really who you think you are. So, often I know that I'll get really annoyed with myself because I think I want to be so productive, and for some reason I just have not got this stuff done. And so procrastinating. And basically that is the impact of fear. So obviously something is impacting, making me feel fearful at a really subconscious level. And so it manifests in procrastination. So some of the other things that might be happening, you might not be sleeping well. Some people might be trying to numb themselves with alcohol, with drugs, with food. Another sign is really being overly busy, but busy not doing anything substantial. So there's lots of ways that fear can impact you. And I think it's important to actually recognise that. And it's certainly something that I often find that it's going on for a while before I figure out, hey, hang on a tick. I'm never a great sleeper, so that's never a sign. But yeah, so it's really about if your behaviour is going against your values. So if you really want to be an energetic, productive person and you're finding yourself being a couch potato, usually there's something at the bottom of it. So really, firstly, identifying whether you're fearful and switching it. Okay. So the opportunity here is that being greedy, I don't really like the word greedy, but you get the point. Being greedy when others are fearful really talks about not subscribing to the herd mentality. So because often what happens is everyone just follows the leader and goes off and follows whoever's speaking the loudest. When in reality, they're not really surveying the situation and seeing the opportunities that may be directly under their nose. And we all know that adversity does bring opportunities. Before I go on, I just want to tell you this really lovely story that's got absolutely nothing to do with what I'm talking about, or it may have actually. But anyhow, so we get the Wayside Chapel newsletter. And the Wayside Chapel, for those of you who aren't in New South Wales, is an organisation that provides meals and support for homeless people. And so over the last few weeks, the government has provided hotel accommodation for homeless people. And so the pastor writes a letter each week talking about what's happening there. And if you've ever donated to them, you're on that newsletter. And I have to tell you, I have donated to them spectacularly. I actually paid $2,000 for a little bottle of honey once at a fundraiser. So I figured that I qualify for the newsletter. But that's a result of too much champagne and a charity auction, always a bad combination for me. Anyhow, this man who has been homeless for many years came in to the centre to talk to him, and he said, so how are you? And the man said to him, he said, I'm good. He said, after being in a hotel for 3 weeks, I have decided that I don't ever want to live on the streets again. I had forgotten what it was like to get a good night's sleep, to be able to have a shower in the morning, to be able to do all the things that normal people do. And so in the past, he had not been interested in getting help to get a home because it's a bit like documentation-wise, it's a bit of a carry-on. But that's a great thing that's come out of the COVID shutdown. It's made him realise what he's missing and that he given him the strength to think he can do it. So he came in and asked if he could help him to be able to get a home. So, yeah, happy story about, and I'm sure at some point, fear was one of the things that drove him to the life that he'd chosen to lead. Hi, Jenny, lovely to see you here. And thanks for commenting so I don't feel like I'm talking to myself. Sorry, I'm rambling a bit, so I'll get back onto the topic. Okay, so if you are fearful, sorry, I wrote myself some notes. How do you switch that? So how do you switch it to be, I guess, make considered decisions in this time and not be driven by fear? And so the first one is gratitude. Being grateful for the small things, I think it's an incredible, I guess, antidote to fear. If you're really looking at what you have, and in other people's eyes, it may not be, they may not see it as being amazing, but you have to look at it through your own eyes. And it's really interesting because I was talking to one of our community this morning, and she had just been, she's been in Wonder Women for over a year. And I spoke to her this morning because she let me know that she'd just been retrenched. And she has just had such a crappy time in life, like pretty much everything she's tried to do has not gone very well. And I rang her straight away because I thought, oh my God, she is going to be concerned. But I was so proud of her because she said in the last 12 hours since she got that news, she's been meditating, she's been looking at what she's got, she's been grateful, and she actually feels quite calm and knows that she's going to be okay. So It absolutely works. So really looking and being grateful for the small things, not just the big amazing things that you have. The second thing is filter the information. Now, there's a lot of stuff in the papers, on the internet, on the television. Now, I want to tell you something. Nobody knows what is going to happen. Nobody knows what's going to happen with property prices. Nobody knows, we'd like to think we're on the home run with the COVID virus and the lockdown, but we really do not know. And when people are getting up there with sensational headlines like property prices are going to drop 30%, almost all the headlines come from businesses that are pushing their own agenda. Now, that does not necessarily mean that they are bad. All business people or all businesses, when they are involved in publicity, will make statements that are designed to get people's attention. That's what they're about. And while they need to have a little bit of fact in them, they don't necessarily contain facts. So you've got to be really, really careful about the information you take in. So just don't listen to anything. Like, seriously, the news, it's fine to listen to it, but don't take it on board, because nobody knows. Not even all the experts in the world really don't know what's going to happen with property prices. So a large percentage of property price fluctuations are as a result of buyer confidence, people being fearful or nervous, and that is driven by the media. So I want to encourage you to look at the facts, okay? And that, I think, will make you feel better. And by facts, I mean real facts, not the facts from the headlines. So one of the things that we know is that there has been a reduction in buyer numbers, and but there's also been a reduction in stock, because most people are holding off selling property unless they absolutely have to, because they are concerned that they're going to get less for it. So from our point of view, we just really want to be, I guess, mindful, but not concerned about it. Just watch it. And if the opportunity arises, then be ready to act. So what I suspect will happen is that, and this is just my opinion, it's definitely not fact, is that once all the government payments and sort of fizzle out, and then people absolutely have to sell because they can't hold them, there will probably be some really good buys around then. There are some good buys around now, but on the whole, the figures are not showing drops in pricing. In fact, some areas the prices went up in the last month. But I would be just keeping your eye out for what is available. So which brings me to the next thing, which is to take action, which is the antidote to feeling fearful and suppressed. So some ideas on things to take action. So firstly, I am definitely looking for my next project, because I think that I'm going to find something that's going to be quite a good deal. And I'm probably looking for something that's got a reasonable amount of fat in it, so that I've got a decent amount of buffer. But the other things to do in terms of action is random acts of kindness, I think, are a really good thing to do at a time like this, because it takes very little effort to do, and it makes you feel better, and it also makes the person that you are focusing on feel better as well. So, just little things like Stephen and I bottled up some of our honey and gave each of our neighbours. We live in a big factory building, and we've got 4 neighbours, so we gave each of them a jar of honey and just left it with a little goodie bag on their front step, with a little happy COVID message. Just little things like, you probably already do this, but I'm not much of a texter, but I've really been making a point of keeping in touch with people that I don't actually see that often, and I don't ever text, but just texting to check in to make sure that they're okay. And it's, I guess, reignited also some friendships that have sort of gone a little bit by the wayside. So just doing little things to make a connection, I think, is an amazing thing. The other thing is, you may or may not know this, there's a new volunteer organisation setting up. So I'm definitely putting my name down to do a little bit of volunteering. I used to do it a lot, and I haven't done much in the last couple of years. So I've decided that, just a couple of hours a week, I think anyone can spare that. So to share some of the love, and I guess make sure that that it's not just our world that's changing, but me as well. And another thing that you could do at the moment is to work on the interest rates on your loans, because I think the ACCC put out a report to say that the banks have been benefiting from lower funding costs, but not necessarily passing that on. So really, in the first instance, talking to your lender to get them to review your rate, because that can actually make a significant difference. And the second thing is to and maybe consider refinancing. So depending on where you're at. So just some practical ideas of things that you can do at this period of time. And don't discount the possibility of doing project. Just make sure you've got plenty of buffer in it. Okay, so that's my little spiel for today. The other thing is, I just wanted to show you, I said I'd talk about a little project that I'm doing. I've got so many half-done projects because deliveries are terrible. I've ordered doors for the spare room that I'm doing up, handles for it. 2 months ago, they were going to be 2 weeks, still haven't got them. I've ordered brass wire to crochet a pair of light fittings. That hasn't turned up. I'm just getting really frustrated with it. Stephen's cranky because he ordered a new camera, which he got the camera, but the flashlight that was supposed to be 2 weeks is apparently, I don't know, a month late. So, and of course, boys and their toys, they get very impatient if they don't turn up. So this used to be one of those Balinese wicker pendant lights. And so I'm spraying it. So I started with a gloss white, but I went and got some chalk paint because I think it'll be a nicer look. And so this is for a room that doesn't have PowerPoints beside the bed. So basically what I'm doing is I've got an extension cord, a pair of extension cords. I'm getting one end wired with a lamp holder. So basically we'll put it through like this, get it wired up, and then the cord will go up to the roof. There'll be a hook, and then it will come down and plug into the light switch. So that's this week's project. And so it's going to take a few coats to cover it. So basically with spray paint, you really need to have a little spray painting booth. So I had a cardboard box that I was using and someone threw it out. So I have to go and find another one to finish the job. But just keeping, moving with things. So that's the thing that I've really loved about this time, is having the time to do some things around our own house, because that in itself helps keep you sane. Okay, so I'd be really curious to hear what you've got to say. Oh, the other thing I wanted to mention is we're going to be running our boot camp online in late May. First time ever. I've just mapped out the content for that. So for me, I'm really got a thing about online courses, because I know a lot of people buy them and they don't do them. And I personally think that if with property, you can miss some critical information if you don't do them. So I'm designing it with belt and braces to make sure that we cover and the critical work. So slotting in some assessments and making sure that it delivers the important messages. And I'm going to be running a beta, which is sort of like not really a test, but I really want to get some feedback on things to make sure that it really does deliver. So if you are thinking about doing some training, I'm going to be offering a coupon for that beta test. So it's going to be significantly more affordable. So just send your details in, or just send us in an email and let us know that you're interested. And we'll be releasing the details tomorrow, actually. Just about finished the work on it. So That's it. That's all I've got to say today. Thank you to everyone who is part of our group and inspiring one another with your amazing projects. It's really heartening to see. And yeah, take care and enjoy your day.